Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Hello and welcome back to All for United's tactical preview. Sorry, my sound cut out just as that was going live then. It's not is it at all. I hope you like the new intro. It was very exciting, provided by Ben Pearce. So, you know, if you don't like it, please go and tell him.
Quite very hip hop and jazz.
Yeah,
that's what
it is.
Very hip hop.
Hip hip.
I think I heard the exact same song in the club yesterday, so we'll leave that where it is. But
did you have your mask on?
No.
Well, James. Hey, talking of which, guys, I got the old booster tomorrow.
Oh, really? Oh, you fall under that age bracket, do you?
Oh, well, you wouldn't know it, would you, to look at me? I mean, I am a developed athlete, as you can all tell. But yeah, I do, Bainesy. I do fall into that category, I'm afraid. Yeah, but I've heard mixed reviews about it. Really, some people have struggled on it, haven't they?
Some people have, yeah. Some people have. I'm sure it'll be all right though.
I won't tell James because he looks up to me, and I don't want him to speak. I don't want to.
Stu is a master of anarchy. But listen, we've got a tactical preview to do. I'd
like to
sit and chat, absolute waffle with you for an hour, but that's what Uncut's for. So we'll leave it for Sunday. Norwich on Saturday should be a free win, but we know United don't really take those. We'll start by looking back. So obviously, I've not spoken to either of you. I'll just mention as well. Actually, we have a replacement for Abdul. We're bringing in Bainesy. I hope you're well, mate. Adequate replacement, I think it's fair to say. Just throw that out there. But yeah, a little switch. But I'll come to you first, Bainesy. An expected win against Crystal Palace, a decent performance. Do you want to see any changes moving forward?
No. Well, I still think, to be fair, I still think Rangnick is still trying to find his way. Not find his way. I think he knows what system to play, but I think he's still trying to get used to trying to find out what players he has. He's been quite open in the fact that his coaching style is very see what players I have and I adapt my system to the players rather than the players adapting to his system, which I find quite intriguing actually, because you look at other managers, you look at Klopp and Pep, who are so intriguing to their players, they will sign their kind of players to fit their system, whereas I think Ralph is doing it in a slightly different way. I expect the same team, considering that on Wednesday he completely changed the 11, so I'd expect it almost exactly the same team. Yesterday's game, look, it was a completely non-fringe game. It was just go out there, try and get minutes for other players. I don't think anyone actually played into the team. You could maybe argue with Luke Shaw, and you can probably argue with Mason Greenwood, considering he scored. But yeah, I would go to be honest, I won't see a lot of changes here. We'll talk about Fred and McTominay because I know a lot of fans don't like McTominay. They're starting to see the little of the Fredemption, as Karthik likes to say. But I don't think we'll have much changes. I think he'll play exactly the same team. Maybe Luke Shaw comes in, if I'm being honest.
Stu, I'll throw it over to you. We'll start off. Are we expecting any changes from the Palace side, regardless of what you'd want?
Well, first of all, before we go any further, I would like to say it's normally the Abdel show. It's now the Bainesy show. So I've now got to follow that. So cheers, Bainesy. Once, as always,
I like going first.
Looking from Palace to last night. We all know last night was a free hit. I think Bainesy's actually absolutely 100% right there. The game was a free hit, and there were certain players that needed minutes, and you could tell that we were quite dysfunctional as a unit, as a team. And I think Rangnick knew that. He knew what he was going to get. I think most of the diehard fans knew we were going to get that kind of dysfunctionality with who was coming in. It was absolutely brilliant to see some of the youngsters come on. I know Karthik was particularly proud to have Iqbal on the pitch. It was good to see Savage. Great to see Greenwood. Really impressed with Alanga, although I thought he overtried. So did Ahmad. I thought they overplayed on occasions. But I think the glaring realisation to the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, probably Donny van der Beek, maybe even Mason Greenwood, and maybe Luke Shaw, Bainesy, because I think he's still coming back from injury. Is that
head concussion, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, is that Dalot has kind of wormed his way into first choice right back currently.
Rightfully so, though, I think.
Yeah, he has done well. And I think there would have been a huge realisation to Wan-Bissaka when that team was announced that you are, whether Ranić actually turned around and said to him, you're now reserved to Dalot or not, I think the realisation would have hit him. Can you read too much into last night? I think you can read everything into last night in terms of the team. I think Telles will stay in, Bainesy. I don't think he'll risk Shaw, although I thought Shaw had a decent game. 65 minutes. I don't see Greenwood coming in. And it was quite telling that Ranić in his post-match interview said that Greenwood's a 9.5. He's not, and my opinion on that. I've never said he's an out and out 9 just yet, and I think
he needs a lot of work. That's what he said.
I think we all saw that. Yeah. As for Donny, I would normally make an excuse for Donny, and that would be he's not used to playing with these players. He needs better players around him, etc., etc., etc. But you've really got to take a chance, and I'm not really sure Donny. Well, he didn't really, did he? And let's be honest, he didn't do himself any favours. I think out of the two, Mata was probably the better player. Now you could argue he's 10 years older. He should be, but with his experience. But I don't see too many changes. I thought Henderson was excellent. He had no chance with that Reader goal. It was just one of those strikes, wasn't it? He had no chance.
Sometimes you just look, Donny gave it away, but sometimes you just got to accept the fact that it was just a brilliant goal.
Got to hold your hands up.
He had to put it top in.
To see was, and James will know because you haven't been on for a while, have you, Bainesy? James will know that I always speak about the 10 to 15 yards travelling distance between centre halves and a potential goalkeeper. And Henderson cut that out last night completely. Completely eradicated that issue. But what was equally pleasing was how comfortable Tom Heaton looked. I thought he looked really comfortable. We all knew he was a good goalkeeper, but I think we're in a situation where we probably would be okay with any one of our goalkeepers at any one time playing in our starting 11. So to go around the houses, James, apologies. But I don't think we'll see many changes, if any. I think the Sunday... Sorry, is it Sunday or Saturday, actually? I don't know.
Saturday night, yeah.
Saturday evening. I think that team's set in stone.
Fair enough. Well, I wanted to come to you, Bainesy, because obviously there was a bit of it links in with this comment as well. There was a bit of a reaction from you when Dalot's name was mentioned. Now, obviously, Wan-Bissaka didn't have the best of games last night. Obviously, you can put it slightly down to the players around him, but he looked genuinely shaky. He looked very much as he has for the last couple of weeks. So do you think Dalot has effectively nailed down a starting position now for at least the coming weeks?
Yeah, I have to agree with that, to be honest. Look, we always talk about when players get their chance, and loads of managers say this. They say, when I give the players chance, I expect a response, and that's exactly what we got from Dalot. We always, as fans, I don't know if anyone else agrees with me on this point, but I've always thought that Dalot's defensive abilities are slightly lackluster. But actually seeing Ralph's system, which heavily relies on fullbacks pushing forward, I just don't think Wan-Bissaka falls into that, unless, obviously, you get a response from Wan-Bissaka, who comes out and starts practicing on his all-round attacking game. Now, we won't see that we won't see that overnight. We won't see that in a week. We'll probably see that in a month or two if Aaron Wan-Bissaka gets into the team or not. Regarding yesterday, it was a bit weird. There were some things that I was a bit like, he normally doesn't do that, and there's a lot of pass backs, and sometimes he does try and take a player on, and most of the time it doesn't work. And he does try and whip a ball in, and most of the time that doesn't work either. But I don't know. I feel like that wrist injury. He had a wrist injury, didn't he, before, and it was all heavily strapped up. And I just have a feeling maybe mentally that played on him a little bit. I'm not sure. I mean, I've broken a finger playing football. Don't ask. And when I came back, when I was always skeptical of knocking it. You know what I mean? And it was that sort of mental barrier until I went flying into a tackle, and I was absolutely fine. Then I started to sort of go, okay, right, yeah, I'm okay now. But maybe it was a mental a mental block. I'm not trying to make excuses for the lad, because I really like Aaron Wan-Bissaka. As much as I like Dalot as well. Going forward, I think Dalot in Ralph's system is going to be a lot better. He relies this 4-2-2 system. He relies it will only work if your fullbacks bomb forward and help the 2-2 equally if they come back as well. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka's got a lot to do, I think, moving forward. And like you said, Stu, it was a bit of a wake up call for him, a needed one, because I don't think he will come out on social media and go, "I'm not happy," this, that, and the other. He's that kind of character that just stays low, concentrates on himself, and tries to improve himself. But going forward, yeah, I think Dalot for Saturday and maybe the next coming weeks after that. We've got Brentford midweek as well after that.
Tuesday, I think it is, isn't it? Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah, so games are coming thick and fast. So I imagine Dalot will probably start the next two, definitely on Saturday, I think.
Well, Stu, let me come to you on it then, because obviously Bainesy summed it up perfectly. Really is the adequate Abdul replacement, isn't he? The Rangnick system.
I'm not happy, quite frankly.
Stu, you can go first on the next one. It's all right.
Stu, don't worry. It's still the Stu Woolley show. It always will be. We're just humour Abdul with that bit. But listen, speaking on the system that Rangnick plays, obviously Bainesy mentioned that it relies on fullbacks getting forward to provide that natural width. Now, when you factor in the Rangnick's need for controlling games, that sort of alleviates Dalot's biggest weakness as well, in that he's not a great defender, but you don't have to do too much defending if you're in control of the game. So does it worry you, because we've seen it's getting frustrating now how inept Wan-Bissaka is going forward? Is there a risk that he could genuinely get left behind by this system and we might be needing to shift him on?
Well, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. But a pair of you again are spot on, really, and your question's apt, James, because you know as well as I do, and I've spoken about it a million times on these shows. A fullback for me plays in the final third, i.e., our third of the pitch. He's there to do one thing and one thing only: stop the winger. But the game's changed, and for dinosaurs like myself, who can't quite get to grips with the modern day football. And I'm not, it is unfortunately how we view it. I was, and I'm an old-fashioned centre half. If I played at right back or left back, I'd be an old-fashioned left back. I wouldn't go forward too much. I'd always be wary, and where I'd be wary of is the ball over the top, over my head. Is when you look at the modern game today. Can you tell me the last time a fullback went up for a header? It's very rare, isn't it? Because the keepers don't throw the ball out and they don't kick the ball out anymore, do they? So the art of almost defending with a winger with his back to goal on you, like used to happen back in the 90s and the 80s, that's gone out the window. What it's about now is when the goalkeeper gets it, he pops it off to his fullback pops it off to the centre half drops it into a midfielder, back to the fullback, and they try and play out. How many times have we been caught this season and last season, lost possession in the final third by doing it that way? Way too many times. Now, I'm hoping that Rangnick will try and eradicate that with his 4-2-2 system, but it relies purely and simply on the fullbacks. And I think Wan-Bissaka, who I think is probably the best one-on-one tackler in the business, I really do. I don't think there's any better. People might disagree with me. Well, that's fine. It's all about opinions, but I think he's the best in the business at that. That's his strong point. You are right, James, because you're taking away his strong points, his real gift of tackling, and you're trying to say to him, I need you to be more offensive. I need you to be better with the ball at your feet. I need you to have a bit more vision. I can't have you mess around with the ball. I need you to be a bit more direct and all of this, which is strange because he started out life as a winger in the Palace youth team, and he needs to re-find that element. If he could add that element to his defensive work, he would be top draw. There's very, very few players that can do that. People say Cancelo. Is it Cancelo at City? Am I thinking Cancelo?
Yeah.
Cancelo. I think he's a poser because I don't think the guy can fucking hit you. I don't think he can hit you. I think he can play football. He's a great footballer, but he can't fucking hit you, can he?
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka can hit you and he can tackle you. And if he can add that Cancelo-esque, that Kyle Walker-esque part to his game, become that athlete that we need, he'd be brilliant. He would be absolutely brilliant. So he's got to, take a long look at himself now. This comes down to application. You've heard me talk about it, Bainesy, a lot. And it does come down, this really does come down to application now. For him, when he's in that dressing room and Raniak's talking to Dallo, I need you to do this, and this. I'd be on there thinking, you fucking bastard, that should be me.
Yeah.
What am I now going to do to make sure that Raniak's coming to me for the next game or the game after that? And that's what he's got to do. He's got to show those balls now. If you've got these cojones, Wan-Bissaka, now's the time to show it. Now, he might have got himself out of jail because of his injury. We don't necessarily know till Raniak does his presser tomorrow. But it looks like he's injured, so he might have got himself out of jail then.
I think he's out for about a month.
Yeah, so he's got to come back stronger. He's got to use that period of reflection and come back a lot stronger.
Certainly. See, I told you it was still a Stu Woolley show. Don't worry about that. But listen, we'll move on to another player who is under pressure at the minute through the manager's demands, because obviously Raniak has come out and said he wasn't too happy with Fred and McTominay's performance against Crystal Palace because they weren't passing forward enough. And we know this is a big limitation of both players. But I think the tenacity that Fred shows is really coming into his own at the minute. So we'll speak about McTominay, who I think is very much under pressure now. Obviously, we're being linked with Haidara, I think it is, from Leipzig, who's another tenacious midfielder who gets about. And, I'll come to you first, Stu, seeing as you want to get the limelight back. Is McTominay another player like Wan-Bissaka who really could be in trouble as the months go on if he doesn't adapt?
Well, here's the thing, and this kind of leads me on nicely to Donny van der Beek last night not taking his chance. I think if I was McTominay, I'd be looking at him thinking I should be all right for the weekend, and because Donny's he's not doing it, he's not pulling it up. He's got a real problem, and I think we've identified this with McTominay for a while now. He's a very safe player, and he's playing well, potentially within his own abilities to stay in the side. And to play football and to be decent at the highest level, you've got to take risks. You've got to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and he's not got the capabilities right now of doing it. The funny thing about McTominay is we've seen him do it in the past. I'm not just talking about his goal against Leeds or his goal against City, etc., etc. That's not about taking responsibility in the centre of the park. It's crunching into somebody. It's being busy. It's being progressive, and he's not doing that. He's almost being regressive, isn't he? Because he's that scared.
Too safe.
Yeah, if I lose the ball, what's the crowd going to do to me? Well, mate, you can't think about what's the crowd going to do to you. You've got to concentrate on the game. And we've got too many players, actually, and this is what Raniak, I think, will find out more about our players over the coming weeks, because he would have learnt absolutely fuck all last night. He would have learnt nothing. He might have picked up the odd one or two bits and pieces about Bailly being erratic, but he won't have learned anything. And I don't think if McTominay had played, I don't think he'd have learned a lot about McTominay either, because McTominay would still play his safe game. So I think what's important for him, he's another one that's got to start either believing in himself, or he needs to take a step out of the team, and let somebody else have a chance. Because when you're playing and operating at the level that he is at the minute, it's kind of an irrelevance whether he plays or not. We shouldn't be thinking about that about a Manchester United footballer, but that's what it is. He's the colour grey, isn't he, Scott McTominay? He's just put in there, and 1 in 7, 1 in 8, he'll have a great game and it'll light up the place. But half the time, or more often than not, he won't. So yeah, I think he's got an issue. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, Bainesy, I'll come to you. I'll give you two choices here, just in case you had anything to add to Scott McTominay. So you can either continue this discussion on Scott McTominay, or we can move on to Rafael Varane. It's entirely up to you.
I'll say a bit of both. So with McTominay, I actually really like him. I always cite back a reference which Gary Neville always talks about, which was you have world-class players in your first 11, but you've got to have the workhorses. Without the workhorses, you won't get anywhere. Now, to win any competition, to win the league, to win the Champions League, even any cup competitions, you've got to have a hard-working team. And McTominay and Fred provide that. Now, over the last 4 or 5 games, we've seen, we know Fred, what he does. He's a destroyer. He gets about. He's busy. He intercepts. And now with this system, as we've seen in the last couple of games, Fred gets the ball and he has a 5-yard pass or a 10-yard pass. Bang, done. That's Fred in a nutshell. With McTominay, we want him to be something similar, but a bit more progressive in the passing. Stu, you're spot on in that he plays completely safe, and I get it. And I think, to be honest, I think the first two, let's say, in that 2-2 system, have to be the destroyers, the interceptors, the get in their face, get busy, shuffle across the pitch quickly as possible. So I think McTominay needs to stay in the team. It's a testament to him that you had Sir Alex Ferguson asking about him. You had Jose Mourinho ask about him. You had obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves him. You had Carrick in the 3 games that he played underneath, and now Ralph. So there's obviously something there. There's obviously something that all these coaches see in McTominay, which is something that the fans obviously are questioning, because it's like, okay, what does he do? And I'm just trying to come out and just say that I think he has got that in his game. I think he has got the progressive passing. I think he can get the ball and drive forward. But I think that with coaching and for him to understand the system a bit better, I think application then comes into it, where it's like, okay, right, let's see what the coach wants me to do. I'm going to try and do it. And I agree with you, Stu, with when there's fans that come out and when players come out and say, oh, what are the fans going to think? For the moment, absolutely forget about the fans. Just play football. Try and be expansive. You know, if you see a pass and it's a risky pass, play the pass. Just play it and see what happens. You know, and that's how confidence grows for you as a player and when you're in the 90 minutes. So I think, to be honest, we see Fred with another partner like Pogba or Matic, and he isn't as good. And we see McTominay in a partnership with Pogba or Matic, and he isn't as good. But when you put them both together, they're fantastic. And I don't want to hear from anyone else that, they're rubbish, they can't pass the ball, but they barely lose games together. I think they've only lost 5 or 6 games together. And 3 of them have come this season under that really poor start under Ole. So they're obviously doing something right. And the coaches are obviously seeing something that to put them both together and get them across. Quickly on Varane, because I know that was a joke, but I'm still going to say something. On Varane, I feel like as soon as he comes in, we're going to start seeing a steady ship. We're going to start seeing a lot more clean sheets. We're going to see more organisation. He is an experienced centre-back who will help Maguire, who will help Dalot, who will help Tellez. It would even help Fred and McTominay in front of him. So I'm really looking forward for Varane. Hopefully he starts on against Norwich. He might get half an hour or something, or 60 minutes, 75 minutes. But we'll revisit this in about 3 weeks, and I'll be talking to Stu about it. That's for sure. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's it's a fair comment actually, because we don't currently know, which is what I'm about to say is going to sound very, very strange, but we don't know how much we're missing Varane, or how little we're missing Varane at this point in time. And so it'd be really interesting to see when I think he's on the grass now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been training for about a week now.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see when he does come on what he can do. And does he play Maguire with him, or does he play Lindelof with him? We're really interested to see what Ranić does. There's no way he's going to inherit a back three. He's not going to push a back three on us. He's going to stick with his rigid 4-2-2.
Yeah.
So no. So look, I've been pleasantly surprised about Varane. I just felt at the time it was warranted a discussion about how he would fit into. I mean, we joke about it anyway, me and you, don't we, Bainesy? That's all we joke about it because at the end of the day, we know football and we understand, but it's always about integration, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that was always been my biggest thing about Varane. How could we integrate him, and would it be better? And I just wonder whether he'd integrate better with Henderson in between the posts anyway. But I mean, it's one of those.
With all due respect, though, to Maguire, he's no Ramos, and obviously Ramos was Varane's partner for X many years, and they won countless amount of titles and trophies with each other. And yeah, I think people were right to question if Varane could do it. What I do think about Varane is I think the pace of the game in the Premier League has really caught him by surprise, and I think that's why we're seeing these muscle injuries coming in, because it's just constantly frantic. Now, I don't know whether that was because of the system. He was overworked in the sense that defensively they're always vulnerable. But we'll see. Look, we'll see what he.
I remember when we spoke about it, actually, Bainesy, and I mentioned about physicality, and I mentioned about Ramos and Pepe. And when you've got somebody like Ramos and Pepe, who were both, they take shit out at a completely different level. In a sense of, and Varane himself never needed to do that, did he? And he would always look like the Rolls Royce alongside your Ferdinand, your Vidic, your Buchanan, your McQueen back in the day, your Bruce and your Pallister, that type of thing. So now he's been in and he's embedded a little bit. You can only say embedded a little bit. I still think, I'm leaning towards the difference maker, but just at this point, how much of a difference maker, I don't think anybody can really say, because I don't think we've got the evidence to say for or against yet, personally.
No, 100%. Yeah, 100%. We'll see after, hopefully he's fit and he gets about 4 or 5 games in a row. Then we can really judge and go, well, actually, you know what? We don't look too bad, because with his recovery pace, I mean, you see it at Liverpool where they have Matip and Van Dijk, and then you have just the one sitter in front, which then allows the two forwards just to bomb on. And hopefully that's the kind of system where you see with Ralph, where the fullbacks do bomb on, but then you do have recovery pace from Varane, and then you have Fred or McTominay sitting in with the centre-backs. But let's see anyway. There's one to revisit, I suppose.
Eamon makes a good point. Would you play Varane and Bailly?
They're both the same kind of player, though. So, I mean, Bailly's really, for me, Bailly's hilarious. The guy, he was doing like Booker T impressions in the penalty box yesterday. I don't know what he sniffs in that bloody dressing room, but honestly, he's hilarious. Oh, look, he's good with Maguire. Him and Lindelof don't work as great. He's good with Maguire, though. Maybe Maguire's the one that sort of settles him a little bit. Varane and Bailly together is honestly, I don't know, a recipe for disaster sometimes. Honestly,
it's a bit like putting caviar with scrambled egg in it.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So I don't know why I say caviar. I don't eat caviar, by the way. I was accused of that this week. I don't.
Yeah, you better hope Karthik isn't watching. Trust me.
No, I know. I was about to get caned on that one, wasn't I?
So. But one final question I had for you, Stu. I'll hand it over to you. When Varane does inevitably come back, whether that's against Norwich or in a couple of games' time, who does he replace? Because I think Maguire was excellent against Crystal Palace. I think we're really starting to see his distribution under Ranić come on and really shine. But also, I don't really think Lindelof's put a foot wrong since replacing Varane. Obviously, we've had a few defeats, but you can't pin any of them really on anything he's done. So who does Varane come in and replace, in your opinion?
Yeah, look, that is a really good question, and it's not an easy one to answer. Most people, fans, comments, replace Lindelof. That's what you're going to get, and I absolutely agree with you. I don't think he's done anything wrong, and Maguire seems to have got over whatever issues he was having at the start of the season. And you could almost pose the question: does Ranić bring Varane back in anyway, straight away? Does he play him? If you're going to push me for an answer, James, because I know you are, you would have to take Lindelof out of the equation because I think Varane, Maguire balance is better. And I think they were starting to. There was the green shoots of a kind of partnership understanding until Maguire got injured and then Varane got injured. So you've never really seen them. You need to see them play 10 to 12 games together straight to really get an understanding with your centre half partner. And I think Maguire and Varane would get that. But that's the ruthlessness, though, of professional football at the elite level. You can have a good game and still get hooked. It's one of those. So, yeah, I don't see the other. I don't see it working well the other way. Lindelof and Varane. So
it's also worth remembering as well that Harry Maguire is the captain. So logic would tell you that he would need to be injured to miss a game, wouldn't he?
Well, I'll tell you something about that. James, unfortunately, you're right, but I don't agree with it. I don't agree. I never used to pay any attention to my skipper. Never paid any attention to my skipper whatsoever because I was too busy bellowing orders from my area of the pitch. I didn't give a fuck what somebody was telling me, either behind me or in front of me or whatever. Fuck off, let me get on with my own game and let me organise the players in and around me. So I don't buy into this captaincy lark anymore. I never really have, and I don't think it's a necessity to have a captain. People say your captain's your leader. Look, there's no Roy Keane's out there anymore. There's no Patrick Vieira's out there anymore. Look at Ruben Diaz for City. He's not their skipper. But look at him, an absolute leader at the back. And they've got Bernardo Silva. He's playing some of the best football of his career. They wanted rid of him in the summer.
Yeah.
But
he wanted to go,
Yeah, he's pulled his finger out and he's playing football. You got De Bruyne in there. So just because you've got an armband, to me, it doesn't guarantee you a starting place. You've got to earn your place. You've got to earn your stripes at Manchester United and any other football club. But as I said, I would never pay attention to my skipper anyway because I'm too busy focused on my section of the pitch and what's happening in and around me. Because if I make the mistake, the captain shouting at me is going to make not one bit of difference. Not one bit of difference. Because I'll be shouting at myself because I know it's my mistake. So, no, I don't think he should walk into the side on the basis of being a skipper. No.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Obviously, it depends what Ranić thinks of him as well. He's not got any ties to Manchester United. He doesn't need to do the owners any favours with their prized assets. So,
he's there for 6 months, 6.5 months.
Yeah, he's not here to make friends. He's here to win games, I think, more importantly. But listen, we'll move on. We'll move on over the halfway point now. Time flies when you're having fun. We'll move forward. The two in front of McTominay and Fred. Obviously, I enjoyed watching Jadon Sancho in that role. We've not really seen him that central. We've not seen him given the license to switch flanks as often as he did. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes, we know how good of a player he is. Sancho's movement in there freed him up a little bit as well. We saw him have more of an influence on the game. I'll come to you, Bainesy. Are you looking at the exact same starting two in those positions again?
Yeah. I don't think you can really say anyone else, to be honest. Bruno, we've seen what he's done since January 2020 when he signed for us. Numbers speak for themselves. I knew, well, actually, not at the start of the season, but when we signed Ronaldo, I think there's a tweet, I'll have to dig it out somewhere, but I tweeted out to say that Bruno's goals now will just completely dry up. Dry up in a sense, in a good way, because what will happen is the burden's not really on him anymore. It will be on the goal scorer, Ronaldo. So what I didn't want drying up is the chance creation. Now, you're seeing like he's leading in the Premier League by a long shot of chances created. Actually, no, I think Salah's close as well, actually saying that. But you know that for the fact that you knew his goals were going to dry up, but as long as his chances creation was all the way up there, and when you've got a fox in the box like Ronaldo, or you can literally do anything as long as you're playing the right passes and you're feeding them through. What we're seeing from Bruno, though, is a bit more of a scaled down version of what we saw when he was a bit erratic at times. I did feel like under Ollie sometimes, maybe it was an instruction from the coach, but that he would get the ball and he would just look up. Oh, there's Rashford. He's on his bikes. I'll smash it and see what happens. Whereas I think Ranić wants to have that control. Well, he's always talked about control. So we'll see a little bit of difference of Bruno. He won't play that hero ball all the time, and he'll play that safer option. He'll still try and unlock defenses, which is what we'll see at Norwich, because I think that with Dean Smith's sides, they always sit back and they try and counter you. They'll invite you on and go, come on then, what you're about. But with Bruno, we'll see the more scaled down version, no hero ball, chance creation, feed it into to Ronaldo, and then we'll see a similar Jadon Sancho. He started off quite. To be honest, I don't think he actually had a bad start to the season. When he came on and he had his cameos for 15, 20 minutes, he looked good. I just don't think he was fit enough. And then we really saw the Jadon Sancho when Carrick got him involved against Villarreal, against Chelsea, and we saw at Palace. Excuse me. We saw at Palace as well that he gets the ball and he's not afraid to look up and switch it or cross it into the ball. He's not afraid to get his head down and bolt on and go to a defender and try and beat him. So yeah, we're going to see the fruits of Jadon Sancho. I truly believe that. Goals and assists doesn't always matter in his position. Again, it's the chance creation in that middle two. Let's say you're looking at give them the ball, get them to create chances, get them to feed it through, and then obviously it's up to the strikers, which I'm sure we'll talk about sooner or later. But Bruno and Sancho definitely for them too.
There's your football knowledge there. To be fair to Baines, there's your football knowledge, and I'm not taking a piss here because you're absolutely right. I'm fucking tired of people talking about the eye test. Oh, he doesn't look any good on the eye test. He's not done any assists. He's not done this and done that. Hold on. Look at where he's running. Look at his positions he's taken up to receive the football. Look at the space he's creating actually for other players.
He works hard. He works hard on the pitch. Stu.
This is what football's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not all about what he does with the ball on his feet, how many crosses he can get, and how many assists he can do, how many goals he can score. It's all about with Sancho. And I've started to understand this more and more with Sancho as I've been watching him. His brain, his footballing brain is brilliant. His IQ is brilliant. That's where Donny van de Beek is excellent. His IQ, his footballing IQ. Is top drawer. We're not using his footballing IQ. So every time he gets the ball, he's looking lumber. He looks laboured. He looks like he's lumbering about. He doesn't look refined like he was at Ajax. And I think that was the problem. Although I do believe Baines, he was playing safe at the very beginning of his United career. But he's not looking or wasn't looking anywhere near as refined with the ball at his feet. He wasn't as graceful as he was at Dortmund as he is now. And he's showing his instinct, his footballing instinct, his footballing brain, his football ability to unlock defenses even when he's not got the ball.
Yeah.
And fans don't get it. They don't see all of that. And that's fine. Hey, everybody views football differently. As for Bruno, I kind of agree with you, Bainesy, to an extent, but I also think he got very stale. Now, I don't know why he got stale. And you were right. He was playing the Hollywood ball all the time, and it winds me up on a Monday night. And when I do this dads v dads thing, you've got these guys who think they can ping a 60-yard ball over, and it's fucking aimless. It doesn't go anywhere. And Bruno himself would say a lot of the time these passes are aimless. But he got rather stale, didn't he? He wasn't usually using the ball to the best of his ability and the best of the ball's ability. At the beginning of the season and towards the end of last season, he wasn't using his vision. He wasn't using his brain. He was trying to do these elaborate bits of play. And I think since Raniak's come in, I say since Raniak's come in last week on against Palace, he was a bit more disciplined, I felt. And James is right, because he was disciplined. And I talk about him dropping back, didn't I, that 10 or 15 yards to receive that ball, which he did, and he became a much better all-rounded footballer again, just like that, because he used the ball better than what he's been using it previous. So those are the only observations I had with Sancho and with Bruno.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't argue with anything either of you said, really. I think it was promising. Obviously, we've got to take into context that Palace, while they've improved, they're not the best team in the Premier League by any stretch. And obviously Norwich aren't going to offer the sternest of tests either. But
Bainesy made a really good point about
Dean Smith.
Yeah, about Dean Smith. But what you didn't say was they press in their final third. They suffocate you and press you in the final third. Whereas Norwich didn't, did they? Norwich would go at you and they'd try and press you from the very front. Under Dean Smith, they won't. They'll press you and press you in their final third. So you're absolutely right. Come on, if you think you're hard enough, let's see what you can do. But we'll fucking have you, and we'll be in at you and at you.
We saw it at Villa.
Exactly right. And I've noticed
they beat. It worked. They beat us at home, but
they beat us at home, didn't
they? Yeah, we'll see a similar Dean
set
Smith
pieces.
side.
Set pieces.
It was
Villa
set
were
pieces.
good. Villa under Smith were good at low press.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it a low block, but it wasn't. It was actually a low press. They were very, very good at turnover, ball turnover, and they're very, very good at set plays. And I think, and he's starting slowly but surely to do that with the Norwich players. They're becoming way, way more productive than they were under Farke. You can only admire what Farke did with the quality of player that he had.
Yeah,
and they went to town every game, didn't they? They tried every game. But when you try against teams like Manchester United, City, or any Premier League team, you're going to get your holes picked in. You're not seeing that now at the minute. I know they've lost a game or two, but they've been hard to beat. What Dean Smith's done is make them hard to beat.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be a given. Actually, lads, I apologise. I know people don't.
No game in this league is a given. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I know. I wasn't saying you were saying it was. Sorry, James.
Yeah.
Let me re-articulate that properly. On paper, you're absolutely right. We should go in.
We should smash them 7-0.
I don't think that would be the case. I think it'd be a real tough ask for us on Saturday. I do.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be a free. I'd love to be proved wrong. I'd love us to smash them 5-0. But I think Dean Smith's a more cuter operator than that.
I completely agree. I'd actually like a tough game, if that makes sense. So I'd like Norwich to take the game to us, show us what we're already about. We get nothing from spanking a team 5-0 when they're not really offering any resistance. So yeah, I completely get what you mean. But we'll move on to strikers. Stu, obviously myself, you and Abdul, discussed the use of Rashford up front and how maybe we should switch to a Martial to link everything up a little bit better, because obviously Rashford and Ronaldo are both impact players. They're not players who want to link up the play and go about attacking that way. So I'll come to you, Bainesy, because obviously you've not had your say on it. Is there a shout there for you to bring Martial back into the lineup just to see how it goes?
Yeah. I've often referred to Martial as the glue, and in the sense that the link-up play, he'll get the ball, he'll look up, he'll play the sensible pass, he'll look for 1-2s, he'll look for what's that?
Me man, Mr. Gray's in the chat. I've only got one fan, Bainesy, and it's me man, John.
Mr. Gray.
It's me man, John.
With Martial, I've often referred to him as the glue. So the thing is with Rashford, he still doesn't look right. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know whether it's that he's still injured. Has he got another niggle again? He's starting to piss me off. Honestly, he's so good. He is really good, and he's frightening. He's so quick on the ball, but he's not getting the ball. He's not running at players. He's not trying to create. He's sort of his first thing is he'll run at players, but then run into traffic. So it's a.
I've got two fans now, Bainesy. Sorry, pal. I've got
two.
Fans.
Yeah, you're gonna outdo me now, Stu.
Thanks, John.
With Rashford, look, everyone should get a chance. That's under a new manager. Everyone should get a clean slate, fresh start. Let's see what Martial does. Now, is he going to play on Saturday? I doubt it. It'll probably be. Actually, is he injured? Is he injured?
No, I think he's back.
Yeah,
I think
he's
do you know?
back.
You remember his girlfriend posted a thing in Ollie's last few weeks saying that Martial was never even injured.
Was never injured. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. So, look, I still think it's going to be Rashford. I would like Martial and see what he does. He should be given that opportunity to play with Ronaldo and try and see if he can do something and look for the 1-2s. I think him and Sancho will play really well because Sancho's that kind of player where he tries to link up, he tries to play the 1s and 2s. We saw it. I think it was, I can't remember what game it was. Chelsea or one of the game. Oh, maybe in Arsenal where Sancho had the ball. He came cut inside. He gave it to Bruno. Bruno straight away saw the pass and he put him into the penalty area. So I don't know what game that was, but I think Sancho and Martial could work really well. But saying that, I still think Rashford will probably end up starting. He's that impact player. He will have a really bad game, and then all of a sudden he will have 10 minutes in the game where he works off this spell, and he's just unbelievable, and he's unstoppable, and he'll score a goal or make a goal out of nothing. So that's what Ollie loved him anyway. But let's see on Saturday if he does start. Maybe there is something, and Ranić can get behind him and go, look, this is how I want you to play. This is what I want you to do. Especially when you've got someone like Ronaldo up there, just crate for him and he'll tap him in left, right, and centre anyway.
So it's interesting you say that, Bainesy, because myself, James, and Abdel all agreed that we feel that Rashford's putting in a 60% performance, maybe a 70% performance.
He just looked lacklustered, He looks a bit like, can I be bothered? And we like, look, we know what you do off the pitch. Of course you can be bothered. You're a lifelong United fan. Your whole family are United fans. He just doesn't look right to me. I don't know why. He just doesn't look right to me.
We think you're right. I actually agree with you. I think actually Martial can play in and around Sancho, because I've always thought, and I've always liked a position where you have one central striker and two floating strikers behind him, or two floating wide players behind him, whatever you want, so they can play left to right, right to left. And Martial has the ability to do that. Now, me and Abdel were talking about hold-up play, and out of the three of them, Martial, Sancho, and Ronaldo, Martial
different class he is compared to the rest of the players,
because he can do with the hold-up on the half turn. He can hold the ball up on the half turn, so he can get on the shoulder of the defender, and he can go, and he can be away. What his problem is at the minute is a lack of game time. And I don't think he's anywhere near as sharp as he is when he's playing regular, which sounds a bit ridiculous to say, because it's why you're not going to be sharp if you're not playing regular. I know. What I'm trying to say is Martial needs that sharpness. It requires that sharpness. That sharpness is his confidence. You take that sharpness away from him. I'm not talking about his overall confidence in himself, but I'm talking about the
match sharpness.
His match sharpness.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't feel he's got the ability to take the ball on the turn and absolutely put the afterburners on, which he did 2 seasons ago when he got 20 goals, 23 goals. Yeah, that season. He popped on the afterburners, he was away. If you've got a thriving Martial, a thriving Sancho, Apex, so yes, they can, in between Ronaldo. Fuck me.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And then pull him off and then bring on Rashford for 20 minutes and maybe
I feel sorry for the left back or the right back, because you're thinking, all right, okay, I've done all right now. Martial's off or Rashford's off. Then you're thinking, fuck me, how am I going to deal? How am I going to deal with him now? I completely agree with that, Stu. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. He's that kind of player that does play on minutes and he's match sharpness, but the issue is, will he get those minutes? Will he get those games? Now, obviously, we're coming up to the most busiest period now in the Premier League. So I'm sure that there will be some rotation. He might get in at Brentford. We don't know. But I would like to see Martial in this system and see how he gets on.
You make a good point there, because we go from Norwich because we're away, aren't we, at Brentford?
Yeah, we go straight down to London,
Yeah, on the Tuesday. So I think you'll see changes at Brentford. I don't think you'll see changes for Saturday. I think it'll be the Palace side. But I think you'll see changes for Brentford, yeah.
Yeah, that Brentford game's going to be tough.
We're just sticking with this Rashford and Martial conversation then. One final point I want to throw in is, do you think Rashford's getting the preference at the minute because he's a better presser? Do you reckon that has anything to do with it?
That is a good question. Actually, that could be, we completely glossed over that, but fair enough.
I suppose when you look at if you look at pressing from, let's take Sancho out of the equation then on this one, and you're looking at presses between Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford. Rashford is a better presser than perhaps Greenwood and Martial, but he's not a brilliant presser, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
he's not great. He's slightly better than Martial. But under Ranić, we've not seen Martial, have we? so we don't know what type of press he's going to put on. And don't forget, pressing isn't all about rushing in at 90 miles an hour.
I was just about to say this.
Pressing is about where you position yourself on the pitch at any given time, where you can disrupt the player or the players that you're pressing. Okay, so you could be 2 or 3 yards off him, but you're still pressing him.
You're still pressing because you're right next to him. Yeah. It's about blocking. It's about blocking that passing option. That's a press.
That's exactly right.
It's not about running 30, 40 mile an hour at someone and flying in. Yeah,
this is what people think. Yeah, and so from that perspective, you could see a very different Martial in as much as where he actually positions himself on the field of play. I said, Bainesy, actually, we were talking about pressing last week, weren't we, James, on Tactical? And I said one of my very first memories of my coach, he put a diagram of the pitch up, and he used to put squares on it, and that's where he used to talk to us about where we were at any given time on the pitch in segments. And that's how I've always played football. I've always used imaginary segments in and around, and how long it will take me and how many strides it takes me to get from one segment to another. And that's how I was able to press, not through speed, but more intelligently than most players. So
positioning,
I think you'll see a Martial would have a more intelligent press on him. And Sancho can do this if he wants to put a speedier press on, he can. So I think you'll see an intelligent one. But you pose a brilliant question, as always, James, on that one. It's a difficult one to really quantify.
I suppose time will only tell, won't it? That's what we've got to. So we've got to work with. It's who takes the chance when they're given it, because no doubt Ranieri will use every player in the coming weeks. Realistically,
he has to, he has
to.
Yeah,
we've seen sort of the yesterday briefly, because I think United it went under the radar that we did play very well for like much of the game. We created a lot of good chances that they really should have scored, and we saw that sort of impact of playing a lot of technically gifted players around each other who want to constantly link up. Your Matters, your Van der Beeks, your Amad Diallos, your Elanga to an extent, Greenwood. So I suppose that's a shout for Martial, that I suppose it does work under a Ranieri system, playing those technical players. But I suppose our final point will be on Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, other than the Arsenal game, he's not actually scored in the league for a while. So I'm not going to ask you if he starts or not, because obviously he does. But Bainesy, are you looking for maybe a little bit more from him in the league? Obviously, he's been a Champions League saviour.
No, but, honestly, no. I look, he's there. Obviously, yes, he's there to score goals, and he hasn't got a goal in a few league games. I honestly don't care, because, to be honest, we haven't really needed it. And when we needed a goal, he's come out and he's picked the whole team up, put him in his backpack, and go, right, come on then, let's go to the next round. So he's done that in the Champions League. So to question, I know you're not questioning it directly, you're just posing the question, but for some people to question the fact that, he's not scoring goals, his goals have dried up, and I won't have it. He will end up scoring against Norwich, he'll end up scoring, he may even score against Brentford. Anyone that I've noticed, anyone that questions him, he goes out and goes and scores a goal or two, or he makes one, or he does something in a game which results into a big chance creation or a goal or an assist or whatever. So I think that people now, especially rival fans, need to start learning that as soon as you start clowning on him, he's only going to answer back quicker. I had a few Arsenal fans that went up to Old Trafford, and when it was 1-0 to Arsenal, they were sending me voice notes of "Sue, Sue." And all the fans were doing it. You can hear it on the TV. And I just said, that's a really stupid mistake, what you've just done there. Because if he's gone and heard that, for a fact he's going to score. And he's gone and bagged 2 goals and done it back to them. So for me, no. His goals have dried up in the league. It honestly doesn't matter, I don't think. I think he will end up scoring either at Norwich or Brentford. Or he'll do something in the game which will relate to a goal. John's perfect. Every goal that he scored is either put us ahead or he's pulled the game back for us. So I don't think we can really question it, to be honest. I really hope he can somehow beat Salah to the Golden Boot, because I've got agendas to run. But that's another question for the end of the season. But no, nothing to worry about. I don't think. Nothing to worry about.
Stu, I'll pose a less stupid question to you then. Obviously, Edinson Cavani's back in training. Does he fit straight back in the lineup for you when he's back? I'd imagine it won't be long now.
Yeah, so I'm kind of it's a good one, and Baines makes a good point, and I've sometimes questioned Ronaldo being on the pitch, not for any, not to be controversial or anything like that. There are times, Baines, you'll know this playing the game, that sometimes you have to take somebody out the equation to put somebody who's better balanced in. And there has been times this season where most diehard Ronaldo fans will understand he unbalances us. However, I talk all the time about one shot, one goal. You might get one shot in the entire 90 minutes, and that has got to go in. There's nobody better than Ronaldo to do that. And therein lies the dilemma, doesn't it, with a player of that caliber and that ability to be able to have the one single chance in a 90-minute game of football and to put it away. Because there's not many of those people around there. Messi's not a one-shot, one-goal merchant, but Ronaldo is. And he's done it throughout his career, including international football. Okay. Now, people talk about rescuing football matches. You never rescue a football match. You don't do it single-handedly. You do it because somebody pops the ball on a plate for you, or the ball ricochets and around, it's bobbled off your colleague's knee and it's just fallen to you nicely and you put it away. But it's that ability to be able to get that one chance and put it away, which Ronaldo has. In a normal game of football, like Norwich or like maybe a Brentford, I'm not tarring them with the same brush because Brentford are a better side, but I don't think it would hurt us whether you took Ronaldo out and put Cavani in. I don't think it would hurt us because Cavani's got that ability, a better ability than Ronaldo in the box to make that 1 yard a second quicker than anyone else in that box.
He's the best in the world at doing that.
To make that space and pop it in. So when you look at it from that viewpoint, I actually think it wouldn't hurt. And I think Ranić might view it that way as well. I don't think moving forward you're likely to see a Ronaldo Cavani 2. I don't see that. I don't think it'd be one or the other. And I think Baines is right about the Ronaldo. But I would always look at balance, team balance. But one shot, one goal. There's nobody better than Ronaldo. Messi doesn't offer you that. Messi offers you a different type of
he creates the goals. He drops deep and creates the goals.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whereas Ronaldo is single-minded. Why don't you fucking pass me the ball? But he's in a better position. I don't give a damn. I'm the one that's going to score. He isn't. That's what you need.
He's done that his whole career, isn't he? He's done that his whole career.
So that's the best way I can think to answer that one, pal.
Yeah, it's a good answer. It's probably a good enough answer to end the show on as well as we approach the hour mark. We're sorry to bring our conversation to an end, but I think it's just about run its course. Massive thank you to you two for joining me, especially Bainesy for standing in. I hope you accept the invitation next time because you definitely earned it.
Yeah, come on again, yeah.
I'll say as well, you did come specially recommended by Stu, so you've got him to thank.
Thank you, Stu. I'm a fan.
No, to be fair, I did, yeah. I said to James a couple of weeks ago, you should get Bainesy on because it complements us three. No problem, because you know your stuff, mate. So if you can make it, sorry, James, you're the guest booker, but if you can make it, mate, I would come on because you know your stuff.
If you want to organise guests for me, you can. I'll let you do that.
It's a
pain in the arse.
He texted me this morning at 9 o'clock. It's all right at 9, isn't it? And I'm in central London, so I think I got back to you about 7, didn't I? 7 o'clock. I can just imagine reading it, going, "Oh, thank fuck for that."
yeah.
Not because he needs me or wants me on. I haven't got anyone else.
It's never in doubt, Stu. We can't have a Stu Woolley show without Stu Woolley. That's all I've
said.
said.
Yeah.
That is correct. Well, we got the Bainesy show now, man. Brilliant.
You can share it. As long as it's not the James show, I'm happy with that. But listen, we're starting to waffle now. I'll let these lovely people get off. So thank you to you two for joining me. Massive thank you to everyone who tuned in and got involved in the comments as well. It's always appreciated, as ever. If you did enjoy it and you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. Again, it helps us massively in the long run and means we can keep doing these sorts of shows for you. But without any further ado, stay tuned for Timeline Talk for tomorrow. Hopefully we've got a good show planned for you. But until then, we'll see you next time.